Hello everyone and welcome to this Blockout tutorial video. In this video we'll go through how you can set up a Blockout scene and use the Blockout system to a basic level. Now after you've imported the Blockout package from the asset store, you can open the Blockout window by either going Window, Blockout, Editor, or by pressing Ctrl-Alt-B on Windows or Command-Alt-B on Mac. Ctrl-Alt-B. And it'll open this window. And then just feel free to dock it anywhere. So this will give you a little quick overview of like a little thank you message. There are 3 example scenes for you to browse at the moment. There's an all asset scene, a first person shooter example, and a rollerball example. There's also links to open the online documentation, which is here. It's just the same as the PDF, but it's potentially easier to use depending on your preference. And there's also an option to submit feedback or a bug report, and that'll just open in your default mail client. So if we just create a new scene, now the Blockout system requires the scene to be saved. So let's just name this demo. Okay. And it has created a Blockout hierarchy, which the system relies on. So please don't edit the hierarchy. At the top, under Blockout assets, we have the basic controls of the system. The top row of icons will jump you to that folder, the prefab folder of blocks, walls, floors, dynamic objects, foliage, and particles. So you can quickly dart around without having to go digging through various folders. The second row is Blockout textures. There are 6 predefined textures that come with the system, just depending on whatever Blockout you want to go for. And there is also 6 themes that's underneath it, like predefined ones, which again you can go through depending on your preference. And each section of the Blockout hierarchy has its own material palette. If you're not happy with any of the predefined material palettes, you are free to create a completely randomized palette. If you then decide to jump back to a predefined theme, you can, but if you want to go back to the previous random palette, you just click Apply User Palette. If you're happy with parts of the random palette but want to change others, for example, I'm happy here with the floor and with the foliage, we'd go Edit, and then we'd lock the floor and foliage. And then we can continue randomizing. You're also able to use your own color, should you wish. If you wish to quickly find a Blockout asset, if you want to quickly find a Blockout asset, or in fact any prefab that's currently in the scene, and you have the Blockout window over the inspector, instead of having to go to the inspector and then pressing the select button or prefab, you can just click Select Asset, and it'll just highlight it in the project window. If you wanted to replace an asset, so say we had these 3 cones, but we didn't want these 3 cones, we wanted crates instead, we'd select all of these 3 cones, drag the crate to the object field, and hit Replace Asset. Now, the benefit of this, if I just do Ctrl-Z, is if each of these assets are rotated to different angles, and then we did the same thing, Replace Asset, they'd keep their existing transform and just replace the prefab. So that is a basic overview of the Blockout system.